Welcome back to the Savage Sullivan Math website. Today we're going to look at square roots that are not perfect squares, and we are going to decide which two integers does that number lie between and which one is it closest to. It's not so easy to figure out when you're not really sure what this is, but we have our knowledge on our side because we have been practicing at least the first 12 perfect squares. So we know the things like the square root of 4 is the integer 2, or the square root of 16 is the integer 4. So we can start thinking about which integers are close, or which perfect squares, rather, are close to the square root of 110. Well, we know that the square root of 100 is 10. And we also know on the other side of this that the square root of 121 is 11. So just from having this little bit of knowledge, we know that the square root of 110 lies between the integers of 10 and 11. This is good to know. But then we need to take it a little step further. We need to figure out which one is it closer to. Is it closer to 10 or 11? It might help us if we look at these on a number line. So if we have over here, let's do the square root of 81. We know that's 9. We know the square root of 100 is the integer 10, and we know the square root of 121 is 11. Remember, we already said the square root of 110 would lie between the square root of 100 and the square root of 121. It is almost directly in between. It's about 10 hops away from 100, and it's 11 hops away from 121. So I would estimate that it's right about here. So which one is it closer to? Because it looks like it's pretty close in the middle. And we're right, it is pretty close in the middle here. But remember, we said it is only 10 hops away from this 100, but it's 11 hops away from the 121. So which one's it closer to? That's right, you got it. It's closer to the 10. Because it is only 10 hops, and 11 is more.
Like everything else in math, practice makes perfect. So let's look at another example. The square root of 32. So we have two questions to answer. Between which numbers is the square root of 32 on this number line? And of those two numbers, which one is it closer to? So all this relies on you knowing your first 12, at least, perfect squares. So when I think about the first 12 perfect squares, I'm going to think about the perfect square that is above 32 and the closest perfect square that is below 32. And when I think about that, I know that the one below 32 is the square root of 25, which we all know is 5. And the one above 32, which is the square root of 36, which we all know is 6. So when I think about it in terms of a number line, down here, we're going to put it on a number line. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the square root of 25, which we really know is just 5. The square root of 36, which we really know is just 6. And then I'll put another one on here, the next one, which we know is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. So when I look at this number line, 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to see where does the square root of 32 fall between? And we have it already. It falls between the square root of 25 and the square root of 36. So we know that it's really going to fall somewhere in this space, which is between the numbers 5 and 6. So the answer to my first question, it's between 5 and 6. 5 point something, right? So our next question is, okay, if it's between 5 and 6, which one is it closer to? Is it closer to 5 or is it closer to 6? Super easy to figure out. When I look at 5, we know 5 squared is 25, right? And we know 6 squared is 36. So is 32 closer to 36 or is it closer to 25? Well, 32 is 7 jumps away on the number line from 32, and 36 is only 4 jumps away on the number line from 32. So we know that it's going to be closer to the square root of 36, somewhere probably around here, if I were to estimate. It's going to be closer to the square root of 36 because it's only 4 jumps away. So closer to 5 or 6, we know that it's going to be closer to 6. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe.